Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Another day doing a live. And today is one of those days where I'm going to talk a little bit about intent. I've been promoting and marketing my new book, The Power of Intent, a lot. And I found that, a lot of people, in the book, I talk about the power behind intent and what a person can do with intent. But a lot of people don't actually know what intent actually is. So today I'm going to do a little bit of a rant about what intent actually is and how come it is so powerful. How come is intent that little secret that nobody teaches you or nobody talks about? Well, the big reason is because we all try and manifest something in our lives. I think that is the biggest thing out there in the world right now, is people are asking, how do I make more money? How do I live a happier life? How do I find myself? How do I? And a lot of people are trying to figure out this manifestation thing. How do I make things that I want to make happen? How do I build the life that I deserve? And the key to that is your intent, because nobody has to learn how to manifest. It is not a hidden secret. It is not a teaching that is lost that we don't have, because we all are master manifestors. We all manifest every single day. The problem is, because we don't know we do it, we kind of manifest on autopilot. We kind of manifest as per the programming that has taught us how to act, how to behave, how to speak. And we don't apply any intent to our manifestation. So, because it's on autopilot, we don't get to manifest the things we choose. We don't get to manifest the life that we envision. We unfortunately manifest as per the programming. Now, what do I mean per the programming? So, the shows we watch, the news, the people we surround ourselves with, the language we speak, all these things are designed to create chaos, essentially, to spur on fear. Um, I can't remember when last I watched the news. In fact, my daughter at the age of 9 had to do an oral recently, and the topic was be a news broadcaster and talk about a topic, broadcast the news for the class. We didn't even know how to tell her what that was. We had to go find clips on YouTube to show her what news broadcasters look like for her to get an idea of what the oral is all about, because we don't want to see the doom and gloom of every day across the world. So all these things we watch, all these doom scrolling on our phones on YouTube, those kind of things program the way we think. The other day I said your brain does not know the difference between what you imagine, what you see on a screen, and what you see in real life. To your brain, it's all real. So you see doom and gloom. Your brain understands that there's real things happening in the world, which affects you. It affects your body. It affects your mind. It affects the way you think. It affects your cells. It affects your vibration. We sit in houses every day, offices every day, and the walls are lined with cabling for electricity, copper piping for water, and all these things create frequencies, creates magnetic fields, creates energy fields that we sit in. We've got Wi-Fi next to our computers. We sit in front of computers. We've got our cell phones next to our ears and in front of our faces. So all these frequencies affect you. Um, don't let me get started on language. I'll do a whole one on language and speaking properly itself. But language is designed to be chaotic. All the different languages are designed so that we do not understand each other. We misinterpret things. Um, you can take something as simple as I'm living in a bilingual household of Afrikaans and English, and just the communication breakdown or the miscommunication by how an English person listens to an Afrikaans person speaking English. It's amazing because the Afrikaans person thinks Afrikaans, speaks English, and that comes across totally different to what they're meaning when the English person hears it. So all these things are programming we are receiving on a daily basis, and with this, we program our lives. Um, you know, you silly example, you bump your toe, it hurts really bad, and you go, "Oh, I'm so stupid for bumping my toe." What are you doing in that moment? You are manifesting. You are speaking into the reality that you are living in, that you are stupid. And then later that day, you can't remember how to do the six times table with your daughter for homework. Why? Because you manifested something negative to your life. So how you speak is very important, but the big secret here is you've got no intent behind these manifestations. They're on autopilot. Now, in my book, The Power of Intent, I go into a lot of chapters that work with each other, how to become a master intentful manifester, to create the things you choose. Looking at speech, looking at, there we talk about time, looking at the process of creation, how you actually go about creating things. But the key thing there is intent. What is your intent? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you saying what you're saying? Why do you want the thing you want? What is the purpose behind it? Now, some people misread it and they kind of go, well, it's easy. I want more money because I can't survive without money. Okay, that is a intent. But on a daily basis, not on tomorrow's intent, not on the life you choose in the future, on the now, what is your intent? Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you make a cup of coffee with 2 sugars and normal cow's milk? If you're a religious person and you're a Christian and you get your meals every night, why do you pray before you eat? Is it habit? Is it part of the programming? Or do you pray each and every time because you are grateful and thankful for the meal in front of you? That's where we start getting to intent. We start getting to the why. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Out of habit, out of programming, or out of active understanding of what I'm doing and what I'm trying to achieve with it? And that's where the power comes in. That's where you start getting the aha moment, right? Because autopilot is easy. Habits are easy. We all work to try and get into habits to make our lives easier so we don't have to think about it. But then we create bad habits, and then it's such a mission to break a bad habit. You think about it all the time. But now your intent is to break a bad habit instead of creating new habits. When you start speaking with intent, your pattern of speak changes. Your words start changing. You start doing something very simple. The biggest thing I teach anybody that talks to me about manifestation, and if we talk about creating the lives they want, one of the first things I teach them is, instead of using the word want, use the word choose. Why? Think about the energy around it. Think about saying that you want an apple. You tell the universe, you tell God, you tell everything that exists, the programming, the illusion, the whatever. You tell yourself, I want an apple. What happens? You are left wanting, right? And Afrikaans was so great as a kid. My parents, when I used to say, ek wil het hê, they used to respond with hê maar. That didn't mean you're getting it. That means you are left wanting. So saying you want something always places it in the future. It always places it out of reach. It always says to the universe that you are wanting. And the universe goes, great, then want, right? Want it. If you want it, then want it. But what if you say, I choose to have an apple? Well, now the universe goes, okay, which apple? See where there's a difference already? Now your intent gets questioned. Your intent gets given the opportunity to be fine-tuned. And you get to go, ooh, I choose the red apple. What's the universe going to do? Here you go. By choosing something, you claim it as your own. You claim it as part of your life. So now, let's talk about I want money versus I choose money. If you start choosing money, your brain starts finding ways, where do you choose it from? Do I choose money to come to me via a salary? Do I choose money to pick it up on the street? Do I choose money from winning the lottery? Which money do you choose? What money do you choose? Right? That's where the key comes in, is what do you choose versus what do you want? And you can only start changing that kind of pattern of speaking once you have intent behind it, once you know the why. right? Why do I want an apple? Because I'm hungry. But sitting here being hungry, wanting an apple isn't going to change anything. I'm going to be left wanting, which means I'm going to stay hungry. But sitting here being hungry, choosing an apple, my brain's going to go, where? Where do you get that apple from? You've chosen one. You want to claim and own one. Where do you find that apple? And you're going to start solving that problem until you see an apple. You're going to get up and walk around. You're going to look for an apple tree. You're going to look for an apple vendor. You're going to go to a shop to try and get that apple. You're going to claim that apple. You're going to eat that apple. And you're not going to be hungry anymore. And that's just changing one word in the way that you speak, one word in the way that you think. But it comes back down to intent. Why? Right? So, what is intent? Intent is not a wish. Intent is not something that you hope for. We are programmed through various religions that hope is a powerful thing. Yes, it is in the right circumstances, but not all the time. Sometimes hope can work against you, because if you sit in a bad situation and all you do is hope and pray and hope and pray and hope and pray, you're not going to do anything about it. Right? I'll go into more detail on this in another chat, but the 3 steps of creation is thought, word, action. Right? You have to take action. Now, sometimes praying is action. Sometimes the word part, speaking about it to other people, is action. But are you doing it automatically as a habit, or are you doing it with the intent for others to listen to what you say? How many times have you sat in a conversation, you had something important to say, and you say it, but everybody's talking to everybody and nobody's actually listening to you? That's not taking action. That's just saying the thought aloud, right? So when it comes to the why, when it comes to the intent, it's not about hoping for something. It's not about wishing. Intent is not a wish, because a wish places it in someone else's hands, right? It puts you in the victim seat. Well, if I don't get it, it's God's fault. Oh, if I don't get it, it's my boss's fault. Oh, if my relationship doesn't get fixed, it's my spouse's fault. It's always someone else's fault. But that puts you in a victim seat. That takes the power away from you, and it puts you in a place where you can't do anything about it. But if you start putting your intent first, if you start thinking about the why first, why am I saying what I'm saying? Why am I choosing what I'm choosing? Because there's a desired result you are aiming for. There's the thing you are trying to manifest, right? And if you start taking ownership and you go, I'm not the victim anymore. It's not up to my boss. It's not up to my spouse. It's not up to God even. It's up to me to do something to get to where I want to go, right? They always say that old thing, you can't win the lotto if you don't buy the ticket. Well, that's true. I can sit here and wish and hope until I'm blue in the face that I'm going to win the lotto Saturday. But if I haven't bought a ticket, I'm not going to win it. The other day, I told you a story about a boy who had the lotto numbers correct 4 times in a row. But because of circumstances, his dad didn't trust him, didn't play it, ticket went through the wash, whatever the case may be. He didn't win the lotto. So even if he got it 4 times, his intent was, put these numbers down, I want to win. He still didn't manifest it. Why? Because he wished this time it was right. He wished that the next time it was going to happen, and it happened. But because there weren't active steps taken to safeguard that ticket, to make that reality a reality, to pretend that it is already so and then live accordingly, he didn't get it. If he did, if he went to the shop with his father, saw the ticket being purchased, took the ticket from his father, safeguarded it so it doesn't go through the wash or anything like that, he would have won the millions, right? So it's all about that little tiny thing, intent, where you take ownership. So why? Why are you doing what you are doing? What is the end result you want? And take ownership of that end result. Because if you're doing something out of automation, out of programming, out of habit, right? What is the end result that you're going for? Is it the result that you want? If you start seeing the patterns that I'm in a automated process, you're going to start realizing, because of this automation, I'm not achieving what I want to achieve. I'm not manifesting what I want to manifest. My intent is not right. Now you've got a very simple choice to make. Are you happy with that or not? Most of us aren't, but we don't acknowledge it. Or we do acknowledge it, but we don't know why. Because we've got no intent in the game. We've got no reason. There's no why for doing what we are doing. Because if you don't like the result, if you don't like what you are going through, and you've taken the steps to take ownership of your own life, to create your own reality, if you drop the victim mentality, if you start thinking about the why, you know what? Something magical happens. You can choose differently. You can change what is busy happening. Now, it's not easy. Ask me, I know. If we talk just simply about something as simple as starting up a business, I've been an entrepreneur since I walked out of school. In fact, I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 15, even before I left school. And starting your own business is not easy. I started many businesses in the last 20 years that I've left school, 20 plus years. And some were successful for a year or two. Some have been struggling for 9 years on. Others were terrible failures, right? But each time I go through a failure, I don't go, well, maybe in the time, the universe is against me. But at some point I go and I think, okay, I didn't like what happened. So when I start a new business, what do I need to change to get a different result? Because I'm the one that creates the result, right? What's my intent behind starting another business? Is it I'm starting a business because I'm desperate for money? Oh, what happened last time I started a business when I was desperate for money? Was it a success or wasn't it? Oh, it wasn't. Is my intent incorrect? Is my process wrong? How do I change to get a different result? Right? That's where the power comes in. That's the little key. You know, the law of attraction says what you think you attract, right? What you focus your energy on, you become. Now, there's merit in that. And that thing is powerful if you have no intent. But now, how much more powerful can it be if you actually put intent behind it? If you actually consciously think about specific things, envision specific things, and not just visualize and visualize and visualize, speak it, act it as well. Right? In The Secret, they talk about visualizing the end goal. You know, if let's say, like they always use the Ferrari example, you want a Ferrari, imagine what it feels like sitting in that Ferrari, touching the steering wheel. You know, how would it feel driving that Ferrari? Yada, 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 yada. But they don't cover that part of the intent behind the Ferrari. Why do you want a Ferrari? Do you even want a Ferrari? Now we're teaching people about Ferrari manifestation, and half the people don't even want a freaking Ferrari, right? Success, abundance, freedom is different for different people. So if you put your intent behind it, yes, let's say you are that one person that wants a Ferrari, 100%, cool. Now you put your intent behind it, okay? If the Ferrari is the end goal and that's where you're going, then you're going to start looking at not how to achieve the Ferrari. The how is not important. I always say if you know how to achieve a dream, you're dreaming too small, right? Because then magic cannot happen, because then it's only up to your skills, your understanding, your knowledge. If you want magic to happen, manifestation out of nowhere, dream as big as you can, right? But now, don't just imagine it as being real. Know that it is real already. Know that that moment in time where you're sitting in that Ferrari already exists. And now think what had to happen to get there, right? So that my today intent is the start of creating that vision. How does a person who drives a Ferrari think? Do they think, oh, poor me, oh, the whole world's against me? Oh, no. Do they think, oh, that wallet is too expensive, or those shoes are out of my price range? No, because they drive a Ferrari, right? So your thinking will start changing. How you speak will start changing, because you know what? You are a Ferrari owner. Dan, how do Ferrari owners speak? How do they dress? How do they carry themselves, right? Even if you can't afford the things a Ferrari owner can afford, you can start acting like one, living like one, thinking like one. Seeing that space in your garage where the Ferrari is eventually going to park. right? Excuse me. There are online traders, okay, who have gone through a process of demo conditioning, right? And what they do is they take their strategy and they put it in a demo account, and they run that strategy day after day after day after day. They see how that strategy works. They don't just test it once or twice. They get into that lifestyle of, whoa, look at how much money I'm making, even though it's fake, even though it's not real, even though they can't do anything with it. It builds them up to that point where their mental mindset gets to a place where I'm making $1,000 a day from online trading, even though their bank accounts don't show it, even though they don't have the money to invest to begin with. So what's going to happen the day that they do start trading for real? There's going to be no around it. There's going to be no worry, no guilt, no stress. They're going to follow the program, not out of habit, out of already being that person that's earning $1,000 a day through online trading. That's where intent comes from. A lot of people say, you know what, oh, it's so difficult to break habits. It isn't. It isn't at all. If you do something once, it was a choice. If you do something for a second time, you're starting a habit. A lot of people say, oh, it takes 30 days to solidify a new habit. Sure, if you're on autopilot, 100%, you have to reprogram your autopilot, right? But if you've done something for the second time in a row, you've already started a new habit. So to break an old habit is very simple. Why don't I want to be in this habit? Why don't I want to do this autopilot thing? So choose to do it different. Now, fair enough, there are addictions and things like that which grab onto you. So I'm not talking about addiction here. I'm not talking about kicking meth in a day. I'm talking about I want to start doing fitness, right? If your intent is pure enough, if your why you want to start doing fitness is strong enough, you don't have to get into the habit of doing fitness. You're going to wake up each morning, choose freshly with your current intent that I want to start doing fitness today because I want to be healthier, because I am tired of looking the way I'm looking, because of whatever your reason is. But each day, that is a choice you will make intentfully and you will act accordingly. So what's going to happen? Before you know it, you're going to have your summer body, right? So that's what the power of intent is all about. It is so, so powerful. And the things I put in my book, it is not as easy as just understanding intent, obviously. There are, I don't want to say tricks to it, but there are things and laws you can combine together to manifest anything you want in life by simply taking your intent, understanding how time works, understanding the programming you're under, understanding how creation works in order for you to manifest the things you want to manifest. Excuse me. When you put all those things together, that's when you become a master manifester. That's where the things you choose in life happen like this, right? Because we all manifest every single day. When you feel like a cup of coffee, make a cup of coffee. When you're hungry, you eat, right? Want to watch a show, you watch a show. We are all manifesting constantly, but we're doing it on autopilot. So if you can get this thing about intent, and you can start understanding it, and you can start choosing instead of wanting. And if you can start seeing how powerful it is to, in the now, make that choice, to know that the end result exists already, not tomorrow, not a year from now, now. It exists now. All you have to do is get there. And how do you get there? By putting the right intent behind every single action you do, every single thought you have that you bring into this reality, every word that you speak. Because then the only thing that can happen is the end vision can meet the you in the now. All right. That's my rant for the day about intent. Drop me a line if you want to talk about it a bit more or get into it a bit deeper. And soon I'll have another live when we talk about another chapter in my book, The Power of Intent. Thanks for listening.